The Nile. It's more than just a river. For thousands of years, this colossal waterway has been a source of life and a force of nature. It carves its path through arid deserts, bringing with it a ribbon of green. Many have tried to understand its secrets and harness its power. The Nile is ancient, yet it continues to shape lives. Its story flows as steadily as its waters towards the sea. This river is a true giant, a lifeline through history. Its journey is truly epic, stretching for thousands of miles. It begins deep in the heart of the continent and winds its way northwards. This direction of flow towards the north is unusual for such a large river. For centuries, its true source was one of geography's greatest puzzles. Explorers risked everything to find where this mighty river began its incredible voyage. The Nile has witnessed the passage of time, the rise of human ambition, and the slow, relentless work of nature itself, shaping landscapes and destinies. Great civilizations blossomed on its banks, drawing their strength directly from its waters. Empires rose, fueled by the fertile land it created. They fell, sometimes when the river's moods changed. The Nile was a god, a provider, a transport route, and a battleground. Its influence is woven into the pyramids, the temples, and the very soul of the lands it touches. We will journey along this river from its hidden sources to its vast delta. Every great river has a beginning, a point where the first drops of water start their long journey. For the Nile, this beginning was shrouded in mystery for centuries. Ancient civilizations wondered where its life-giving waters came from. Explorers from Europe and beyond dedicated their lives and sometimes lost them in the quest to find the Nile's source, Lake Victoria. This vast freshwater sea, nestled in the heart of Africa, is widely considered the main source of the White Nile, one of the Nile's two major branches. The explorer John Hanning Speke was the first European to reach it in 1858 and identify it as the source. He named it after the Queen of England. From the northern edge of this great lake, water spills out, forming the Victoria Nile. This is a key starting point for the river's epic journey northwards towards the Mediterranean Sea. The White Nile, originating from the Lake Victoria region, provides a steady, constant flow of water throughout the year. The journey from the humid, tropical regions of its sources to the arid deserts of Sudan and Egypt is a transformation. The Nile does not confine itself to one type of landscape. Its journey is a passage through an astonishing variety of environments. From lush tropical regions to vast arid expanses, the Nile sees it all. The White Nile begins its journey from Lake Victoria. In South Sudan, it enters the vast Sud swamps. The Blue Nile bursts forth from Lake Tana in the Ethiopian Highlands. It meets the White Nile at Khartoum, then flows north through deserts. Ancient Egypt. The very name conjures images of immense pyramids, golden masked pharaohs, and mysterious hieroglyphs. This legendary civilization, one of the most brilliant and enduring in human history, owed its very existence to the Nile River. The river dictated where they lived, what they ate, how they traveled, and even how they viewed the cosmos. Thousands of years ago, long before the first pharaohs, people began to settle along the fertile banks of the Nile. They were drawn by the promise of water in an otherwise arid land. They learned to understand the river's rhythms, its annual flood, and its retreat. This understanding allowed them to move from a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a settled agricultural one. Villages grew into towns, and towns into cities, all clustered along this narrow strip of life-giving water. The Nile provided not just water, but also a sense of place and a focus for community development. Without the annual inundation of the river, which deposited rich black silt upon the land, agriculture would have been impossible on such a grand scale. The surrounding deserts were barren. It was the Nile that transformed a narrow valley into a fertile paradise, capable of supporting a large population and a complex society. Section 5. Gifts of the River, Sustaining an Empire. How exactly did the Nile manage to sustain such a powerful and long-lasting empire as ancient Egypt? The primary answer lies in its unique hydrological cycle, especially the annual flood. This wasn't just any water, it was water laden with incredible richness. Every year between June and September, the river would swell, fed by the monsoon rains in the Ethiopian highlands where the Blue Nile originates. This predictable flooding was the cornerstone of Egyptian agriculture and, consequently, its civilization. The Egyptians didn't just live beside the river, they lived in partnership with its mighty pulse. As the floodwaters spread across the valley, they deposited a thick layer of fertile black silt. This silt, rich in minerals and organic matter, rejuvenated the soil, making it incredibly productive for farming. Thanks to this incredibly fertile land, the ancient Egyptians could grow an abundance of food. Beyond agriculture, the Nile served as the main transportation and communication artery for the kingdom. The river bound the kingdom together, making it a cohesive and manageable entity. Section 6. Life in the water and along the banks, the Nile's rich biodiversity. A colossal river system like the Nile is far more than just a channel for water and sediment. It is a vibrant, dynamic ecosystem, teeming with a diverse array of life forms. Many different species of animals and plants have adapted to live in its waters, along its banks, and in its fertile delta. One of the most iconic inhabitants of the Nile is, of course, the Nile crocodile. These formidable reptiles are apex predators, perfectly adapted to their aquatic environment. They can grow to impressive sizes, sometimes exceeding 6 meters in length. The waters of the Nile are also home to a rich variety of fish species. For millennia, these fish have been a crucial source of protein for the people living along the river. Beyond crocodiles and fish, the Nile and its surrounding wetlands support a vast array of other wildlife. Its ecological importance cannot be overstated. Section 7. Modern Lifeline. Water for Nations Today. The Nile's profound importance did not end with the decline of ancient Egyptian civilization. Today, in the 21st century, the Nile remains an absolutely critical lifeline for the millions of people who live in the countries it flows through. Its waters are more precious than ever, supporting rapidly growing populations, burgeoning agriculture, and the increasing demands of modern industry. Egypt and Sudan in particular are two nations whose very existence is overwhelmingly dependent on the Nile. For Egypt, which is predominantly desert, the Nile is virtually the sole source of fresh water. Over 95% of Egypt's population lives within a few kilometers of the river or its delta. Similarly, Sudan relies heavily on the Nile and its tributaries for irrigation to support its large agricultural sector. Beyond agriculture and drinking water, the Nile also plays a significant role in generating hydroelectric power for the region. The river also continues to be a route for transportation in some areas, and its scenic beauty supports a significant tourism industry, particularly in Egypt. The Nile is truly a multi-purpose river, integral to almost every aspect of modern life in the basin. Section 8. Power and Politics. The Nile in the 21st century. When a resource as vital as water is shared by multiple nations, it inevitably becomes a subject of politics and, at times, tension. The Nile River Basin is shared by 11 countries: Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Eritrea. Each of these nations has legitimate needs and aspirations for using the Nile's waters for their development. However, the river has a finite amount of water, and what happens in one part of the basin can significantly affect users downstream. The construction of dams on the Nile and its tributaries is one of the most contentious issues. Dams can provide significant benefits, such as hydroelectric power, flood control, and water storage for irrigation. However, they can also alter river flows, trap sediment, and reduce the amount of water reaching downstream countries. Cooperation, not conflict, is the key to a sustainable future for the Nile Basin. The future prosperity and stability of the entire region depend heavily on the ability of these nations to navigate their differences and collaborate for the common good. Section 9. An enduring legacy and future challenges, the river's timeless story. The Nile River has flowed across Africa for millennia. It has carved canyons, created fertile lands, and witnessed human civilization. Its legacy is immense, written in stone monuments and enduring cultures. The Nile is a symbol of endurance and life's persistence. However, it now faces new challenges in the 21st century. Climate change is a major concern. Changes in rainfall could lead to severe droughts or intense floods. Rapid population growth adds significant pressure. Increased demand for water for drinking, sanitation, and agriculture. The timeless story of the Nile continues to unfold. Protecting this mighty river is a profound responsibility.